Every new Jeep after 1996 has at least 20 warning lights, and one survey said most drivers ignore at least one dash warning every week. What if the warning you skipped is the thing that costs you everything? Today we're going through every dashboard warning light in your Jeep, what it actually means, what you can safely ignore for a day, and which ones mean pull over right now. Warning number 1, check engine light, what it really means. OBD2 rules say a solid check engine light means check soon, and a flashing light means damage can happen right now. When your Jeep logs a fault code in the engine or emission system, that orange icon pops up. A loose gas cap can trigger it, and a misfire can roast the catalytic converter. A tech told me, treat a flashing check engine like a fire alarm. So what code got stored and which red light follows before you even feel anything wrong? Warning number 2, oil pressure. Light the one you pull over. For dealer guides say the oil pressure light means pull over, shut the engine off, and check the level right away. It comes on when lubrication pressure drops from low oil, a failed pump, a blocked pickup, or internal wear. At highway speed, metal starts rubbing metal, and shops see spun bearings and seized crankshafts from that mistake every week. If that red oil shows up, do you really want to gamble a short drive against a total engine replacement bill like that? Warning number 3, overheat light, the fast track, to big repairs. On many modern engines, an overheating head gasket job can run $1,000 to $3,000, and that number climbs fast with extra damage. That red thermometer light means coolant is already too hot for safe driving. Coolant loss, a stuck thermostat, a dead fan, or a clogged radiator usually causes it, and keep driving and the head, block, and gasket start warping. Pull over, shut down, let it cool, and ask yourself, what failed first inside your cooling system before the temp spiked up? Warning number 4, brake light when it means more than a handbrake. Every manufacturer manual warns that driving with a brake warning light on can mean reduced stopping when you need full power. On your Jeep, brake or a red circle can mean low fluid, a hydraulic fault, or a parking brake that still drags. If the light stays on after you release the handle or switch, think worn pads or a leak. Leaks turn into a long pedal, then a pedal that sinks. So what would you rather find, low pads or leaking lines? Warning number 5, ABS light when you still stop but lose control. Repair sites label an ABS warning medium severity because you keep normal brakes but lose anti-lock control. The light means ABS shuts down after a fault in a wheel speed sensor, wiring, or the module. Without pulsing, wheels lock quicker, and once they slide, you lose steering input on wet pavement. Imagine rain, you slam the pedal, and the Jeep goes straight anyway, so where do you want to discover that? During a careful test at 60 miles per hour? Warning number 6, TPMS light, why looks fine means nothing. US safety rule set. TPMS to warn when a tire drops about 25% low from the recommended pressure. That yellow horseshoe icon means at least one tire hit that threshold, even if it still looks fine. NHTSA points out tires can lose up to half their air before you spot it by eye. Underinflated tires run hotter, handle worse, and take longer to stop. So are you guessing, or are you grabbing a gauge and finding which corner is bleeding air now? Before we continue, remember to hit that subscribe button so we can continue to deliver high-quality Jeep insights. Warning number 7, battery light. While driving, the alternator trap. AAA lists dead batteries and charging failures among the most common tow truck calls, so that battery light deserves respect. If it shows while driving, the alternator, battery, or wiring is not meeting demand. The Jeep runs on stored battery power and modules start acting weird as voltage falls. Drivers describe Christmas tree dash lights, heavy steering, then a stall in traffic. So what turns off first, and do you want to learn that in a parking lot or in the lane today? Warning number 8, airbag light, the one that fails. Quietly, safety guides say an SRS light can mean airbags fail to deploy during a collision, even if the Jeep feels normal. That icon shows the system stored a fault, from sensors, wiring, the clock spring, or the control module. Belts and airbags are designed to work together, so this changes how your body takes force. Techs treat it as a high priority, so what do you check first, the wiring at the wheel or the module under the console before you trust it again tomorrow? Warning number 9, seatbelt light, the data behind the chime. NHTSA reports lap shoulder seatbelts cut the risk of fatal injury by about 45% for front seat occupants. That is why the red belt icon flashes and chimes, because the Jeep knows a person is sitting there unbuckled. The same data says moderate to critical injury drops about 50% with a belt, which explains why click it or ticket ties fines to belt use. So what makes you skip it on a drive, and what does your body hit if you do? Warning number 10, passenger airbag. Off, when sensors decide for you. Safety agencies warn a front passenger airbag can injure a small child, so they recommend kids ride in back. Your Jeep uses seat sensors to control that airbag, and it will show airbag off when the system thinks the occupant is too light or a rear-facing child seat is there. The risk is real because an adult misread by the sensor may ride with the bag disabled. So when you see off, do you trust the sensor or do you move the passenger? Warning. Number 11. EPS light when steering. Suddenly feels heavy. Tech bulletins mention drivers struggling in parking lots when electric steering assist drops. The EPS warning means the assist system detected a fault and may switch off. Low voltage, a steering angle sensor fault, or a motor issue can trigger it. Mechanical steering stays, but low-speed effort jumps, and that surprise can ruin a tight turn. If the wheel gets heavy, do you keep driving or do you pull over before a simple corner becomes a real problem when you least expect it? Warning number 12. Transmission. Hot the warning that smells expensive. Service shops see overheated transmissions arrive with burnt fluid, slipping clutches, and metal debris, and the warning light is the early clue. A transmission temperature alert means the fluid hits a heat level that speeds up wear. Towing hills or low fluid can push it there, and ignoring it can turn into a rebuild quote in the thousands on modern automatics. When it says hot, do you slow down and cool it, or do you keep going until it slips on your commute? Warning number 13. Master warning triangle, the light that hides. The real message, the master warning triangle does not explain the fault, it tells you the cluster has details waiting. It usually pairs with a message like low washer, door open, or key left in the vehicle, and sometimes the real alert hides one menu deeper. Some guides call it a general fault indicator. Drivers tap OK fast, miss the words, and an intermittent alert can later turn solid. So what did you dismiss last time without reading it, and what system was it tied to? Warning. Number 14. Fuel cap and EVAP, the cheap fix. That triggers real codes. Emissions rules require EVAP systems to detect leaks as small as a pinhole, so a tiny seal problem can trigger real codes. On many Jeeps, a loose gas cap can set an EVAP code and light the MIL, and that can fail OBD inspections where readiness checks matter. Because the light can take several drive cycles to clear after you seal it. So if the engine light showed up after fueling, did you check the cap first, or did you start blaming sensors? Warning. Number 15. Low fuel light, more than a range. Game AAA lists running out of fuel as a top roadside call reason, and the low fuel light is the last warning. The pump uses fuel for cooling, and running near empty keeps feeding it the dirtiest fuel. Filters can clog, pumps can overheat, and off-road angles can uncover the pickup and cause a stall right when you need traction. So when the icon comes on, do you refill now or do you gamble the last stretch and hope the Jeep keeps pulling today? Warning number 16. Electronic parking brake, when the switch lies. Dealer guides warn electronic parking brake faults can overheat rear brakes or let the Jeep roll on a hill. A flashing red P points to the EPB actuator, control module, or rear calipers. Wet climates bring corrosion, and techs often find seized cables or stuck mechanisms. If the brake drags, pads and rotors cook fast, and if it fails to hold, parking becomes risky. So when the light flashes, do you smell hot brakes, or do you test the hold before trusting it? Warning. Number 17. Service 4. WD when traction disappears. Quietly, dealers say some Ford WD systems drop back to two-wheel drive when a fault appears, even before you notice. SERV4WD means the transfer case or its electronics reported a problem, often from a mode sensor, actuator motor, or internal wear. Dry pavement can hide it, then snow or mud exposes it when 4x4 refuses to engage or clunks. So if you wheel your Jeep, do you want to discover that failure at the trailhead or halfway up the hill with no cell service? Warning. Number 18. Stability control. Light flashing versus solid safety studies show electronic stability control cuts SUV rollovers and single vehicle crashes significantly, and that matters for Jeeps. A flashing skid icon means the system is actively correcting a slide by cutting power and pulsing brakes. A solid light means a fault, often linked to ABS sensors or the steering angle sensor. Without ESC help, a wet curve can turn into a slide faster than you expect. So if it stays solid, do you adjust speed now or wait for a fishtail tonight? Warning number 19. ESC off, the button. People forget crash reports often mention no stability assist in SUV loss of control cases, which makes the ESC off light a big deal. When it is on, you turn stability control off and it stays disabled. That can help on some trails, but on wet pavement, you lose automatic correction that can keep a slide from growing. The Jeep can feel normal until the rear steps out. So do you check for off, or do you assume the safety system is still watching your back always? Warning number 20. Lightning bolt, when the Jeep limits. Power throttle-by-wire uses sensors to command a motorized throttle body, and faults can trigger limp mode with reduced power. The lightning bolt means electronic throttle control saw something wrong, so RPM and response get limited to protect the engine. Drivers feel it most when merging because the pedal suddenly gives little and traffic keeps moving. So if the bolt shows up on an on-ramp, do you abort the merge and find a gap, or do you squeeze the pedal and pray it wakes up? If any warning light made you pause, drop your own Jeep story down below. Got that itch for more? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Thanks for riding along. See you in the next one.